everyone, this is Lana with Lana by Lana Design and welcome back. Today I'm going to share with you how I made these two trifold cards, and I will also show you all the products that I used to make them. Some of them are brand new, some of them you have already seen or probably have. So PinkFresh Studio has recently released a slim die collection, and I just absolutely fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. I've ordered more stuff from the collection, but most of it is back ordered, so I'm not sure when it's going to arrive, but I will share that with you when it does. I came up with this design and I really like how this design turned out. Now this card here has some sparkly stars and the other one doesn't. I just wanted to show you both, so if you don't like the sparkle, the one without it is just as nice and impressive. So let's get going. The first thing is cutting your paper to size. I'm using a white 110 pound cardstock by Recollections. I cut this paper to 8 by 9 inches and I scored it right in the middle at 4 inches. The next step is die cutting. So the die cut that I'm using today is again by PinkFresh Studio, and it is called Slim Diagonal Stripes die. I have already pre-cut my paper, and I'm going to put this through my die cutting machine. The die cutting machine that I'm using is by Spellbinders. It is their Platinum 8 machine, and this machine has the platform that is 8.5 by 12 and 1/4 of an inch. It is a great cutting machine. It is perfect for intricate dies. I really highly recommend this machine. Okay, now I'm going to put my machine away and get my die cut ready. I'm using just a little simple tool here just to poke the cuts out of the die, and as you can see, my die cut is ready in no time. The next step is heat embossing, ink blending, and some stamping. For stamping, I am going to use this very nice stamp set by Altenew. It's called Kind Words. I'm going to use these stars at the bottom and this sentiment that says, I've been thinking of you and wondering how you are. For embossing, I am going to use Versamark Embossing Ink, Wow Clear Gloss Embossing Powder, Anti-Static Powder, and my trusted Wagner heat gun that I'm going to turn on right away so it can get nice and hot. I am now gently peeling off my stamp, and I'm using an acrylic block here. It is much easier than using a stamp positioner since I'm not going to do multiple stamping today. First, I'm going to make sure that I have enough anti-static powder on my paper. I'm using a small brush here by Ranger to apply the powder all over the paper. Make sure not to touch that paper, for it will leave marks on it. Next, I'm going to ink up my stamp and stamp up. When using photopolymer stamps, do not press them hard. That will cause the image to move slightly and your impressions will end up splotchy. Next is the embossing powder. I'm going to flick off the excess here and heat set it. When using a heat gun, always make sure to move it until your powder is melted. This will prevent your paper from warping, and also it will not burn your paper. I'm not sure if you can see the image here, but my little stars are done, and the next step is ink blending. I'm going to use my Altenew Silicone Mat for ink blending. I love this little mat. It's easy to clean and it protects my work surface. Now, it did stain a little bit, but it didn't harm it. All right, I'm going to use this ergonomic brush by Altenew to apply my ink. These brushes are truly awesome and easy to use. Each brush has its own case for better storage. The ink that I'm using is by Colorworks. It is a gold pigment ink, which means that I will have to heat set it a little bit later. I am using some masking tape here just to mask the back of my card. When you're using a masking tape, please make sure to get rid of that tack a little bit. I like to use my forearm for this. That way, when I peel that masking tape off my paper, I know they will not damage my paper. I'm just taking my blending tool here and applying the ink directly to paper. I am not pressing hard here, just gently applying that ink, and I'm going in a circular motion. Next, I'm going to use my cloth and remove that ink from my embossed image. And now you can see how my stars are popping up. This is that ink resist technique, and I just love using it. I'm going to remove the tape nice and gently and heat set the ink. This is just going to be just for a few seconds until it's dry. It really doesn't take that long. Now I am going to add the sentiment on the inside of my card. I happen to use the Misty tool here because I made several of these cards earlier, so my stamp was in my stamp tool already. But you don't have to do this. You can just use your acrylic block for this. It's going to honestly do just as well of a job. To stamp my image, I am using Detail Black Ink by PinkFresh Studio, and I'm just going to ink up my stamp a couple of times, close the door of my Misty, and stamp. I'm just going to repeat the process, and as you can see, the inside of my card is done. Next, I will need my scor-pal tool for this. There it is. To make a flap for my card, I am using acetate. This acetate is by Fawn. It is 8.5 by 11 size, but you can use clear packaging for this as well. That's just a quick tip. I cut this sheet I cut this sheet of acetate, in half, which is now at 4.25 by 9 inches, and I am going to score this at 4 inches. Remember, the size of my card is 4 by 9, so I will have that extra 1/4 inch where I can put my adhesive and I can adhere it to my card. To adhere this, I am using a double-sided tape from Fawn. This is a super strong permanent tape that is perfect for this. I'm going to peel off the backing of the tape and adhere it to my card. I like to use the bone folder tool to press and reinforce that fold. And the trifold card is created. Now I'm going to decorate it. I'm going to adhere my die cut onto my card, but before I do that, I am going to embellish it with these little confetti stars from Hero Arts. For adhering paper or embellishments on acetate or vellum for that matter, I prefer using a spray adhesive. The one that I am using today is Elmer's spray adhesive. And what is so cool about this glue is that it can be used both as a temporary or permanent adhesive. The trick for adhering things permanently, you have to do it in less than 30 seconds after you apply the glue. Otherwise, it will not hold. This glue does not smell, and it is safe to use it inside as long as you do it in moderation. And I like to spray it away from my work surface in the box. I apologize for that, you guys. I just do that so the glue does not go all over my stuff. And now I am just going to sprinkle my stars over my die cut. And I just realized that my camera was turned off. I apologize for that, but you did not miss much. So after I apply my stars, I'm going to add a couple of these beautiful feathers that I got at Michael's a while back. And I've been meaning to use them for a long time now. And now I got a chance to do it. Okay, so a little tip about adding feathers to your projects. Feathers are always bulky on the back, and what I like to do is trim off that little piece there just to make them flat, and that way they're much easier to adhere. For adhering these feathers, I am going to use my glue gun. It will glue it on my paper permanently, and I will know for sure that they will not move anywhere. Next, I'm going to generously apply my spray adhesive on the back of my die cut. I just had to do it off camera again. And it is time to stick it to my acetate. Because of all of my embellishments here, I am going to use a scrap piece of paper to put it over my card, and I'm going to press it here with my bone folder. That way my embellishments will not get damaged. And that is it. As you can see, there is no adhesive showing through that acetate, and everything is nicely secured. Honestly, guys, I love how these cards turned out. And again, the die that I used in today's card is from PinkFresh Studio, and the stamp set is by Altenew. All the products that I used today are listed in the description below, and if for some reason you don't see an item that I used that it's listed down there, please feel free to leave a comment or a question. Thank you so much for visiting me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon in the next video. Thank you guys. Bye.